RWBY is a show that's been around for 10 years. Yeah, a whole decade. For 10 years of our lives, we've watched as Ruby Rose joined Beacon Academy, a bright-eyed student, and has become officially a licensed huntress, dedicated to saving the world. In-universe, she's been training for at least 2 years, canonically starting the show as 15, and now she's 17. So after all that time, why does it feel like the characters haven't actually gotten any stronger? I was thinking about RWBY's combat, and specifically how it feels very stagnant. Now, usually when this topic comes up in the fandom, we hand-wave it away by chalking it up to the shift in Maya, and the fact it was going to be impossible for people to replicate Monty's amazing eye for combat. But that didn't feel quite right to me. There's something going on here beyond just the choreography, and as I sat with it, I realized the girls don't feel like they've actually gotten any stronger during the show's 10 years of existence. I know it was always going to be tough implying continued strength when the show starts with pretty iconic big victories, but it's not just about throwing bigger monsters at the heroes. The heroes themselves need to show their own levels of growth, and I think it was really the lackluster Aesop's finale fight from Volume 7 that made me really start to think long and hard about this.
We're the best huntsmen in Atlas. You were. Then you trained us.
This victory, rather famously, feels undeserved despite RWBY's line here. But why? Well, let's dive into the world of power dynamics to really break down what RWBY is and isn't doing to imply the character's strength.
Better, stronger, faster.
This seems like an easy one. This is a world where the characters get their own special weapons and their own special superpowers. An easy way to imply their growth is to have these things get cool new upgrades, right? I mean, heck, they even had Pietro say he did that.
Your new weapons and armor should be as requested.
But for some idiotic reason, all the upgrades they gave them are completely pointless. They do absolutely nothing to change the squad's fighting styles. The head of RWBY's scythe pivots? Why? She already twirled the stupid thing around like it's a plastic toy, but a completely pointless addition, and they're all like that. They gave Yang sticky bombs. She already has shotgun shells. What's the point of giving her another long-range attack that does the same thing? What's worse is she never actually uses them like sticky bombs. She never plants one and then runs really far away to guarantee it hits her target long after she's gone. She just stands around, close by, as if she could have just shot them with her already existing shotgun rounds, which also look way cooler. Blake and Weiss didn't even get anything. To be fair, Weiss is the only one who's actually upgraded her skills throughout the series, but they also seemingly abandoned a lot of her coolest looking ones in the process. She doesn't use time dilation, she barely even uses her sword like a sword anymore. Blake didn't get anything. All they did was put her sword back together with this small, really unimpressive little yellow bit. I know what it was based on, and if it looked a lot more like that, it would have actually been kinda cool looking, but it's not. Also, I was like, oh, is that lightning dust? Can she, like, shoot out lightning blasts like Ilya or something? No. It's just yellow. Blake has literally never gotten a single upgrade to her weapon or semblance throughout the entire show. It's exactly the same as when she first appeared in the Black trailer. Juniper is a whole other can of worms that display a different thing. Jean's gotten 2 upgrades now, and both just feel redundant. His sword becomes a great sword. While it does look cool, it has also literally never done anything that implies it actually deals more damage than his normal attack. In fact, he hardly even actually uses the great sword form anyways, so what was the point? Then he got a shield blast from his shield, so his shield can be even more shield. Did no one think to give him a long-range attack? Give him a laser sword or something? All of their upgrades just feel like they do the same things they were already able to do. Their combat style is no different, so it doesn't feel like they've actually upgraded at all. Ren and Nora highlights a different problem. The noticeably different upgrades they do get are non-combative. Nora's weapon upgrade was this thing, where she can now ride around on her grenade launcher. She's flying on it, like Thor. A cute allusion to her fairy tale inspiration, but aside from that, this is pointless. Not only have we seen that Nora has a 30-foot vertical jump, but she's been launching herself around on her hammer for years. It's literally her most iconic moment of the show. So not only does this feel pointless, but now it looks stupid too. Seeing her hunched up all goofy like an adult on a kid's tricycle does not look like an upgrade. Ren's weapon, similarly, has been inconsequential in combat, but I really want to focus on his semblance. Because it's not just weapons that these kids have, it's their superpowers. Ren is one of the very few people who have actually unlocked new skills with his semblance. It's actually shocking once I realized how few people actually get semblance upgrades throughout the show. Jean unlocks his semblance if we count that. So cool, we now have a healer. Oh, what do you mean our healer can't heal our dying friend? What was even the point of giving him the healing powers? Yang's semblance looks different, but I think it's just the change from Poser to Maya. Mechanically, it's exactly the same. Weiss and Blake I already talked about. Nora hasn't changed. Oscar still doesn't have one. Ruby is the only other one in the main cast whose semblance is upgraded, and again, it's not helpful in combat. She can become multiple blobs to run around an object. How pointless. She could already move quickly. You gave the character with super speed the ability to walk through walls. Yeah, I think they would have gotten to the other side fast enough regardless of if the wall was in the way. It's incredible how after all this time, how little the character's arsenal of abilities has changed. Even crazier is when you notice how often the villain's abilities do. Neo and Emerald upgraded their semblance to be even better than before, so why are our heroes stuck getting upgrades like, I can tell what emotion you're feeling? And it sucks because there's tons of potential here. Give Blake throwing stars or something. Have Yang's robot arm transform into a chainsaw or whatever. Ruby Rose is a weapons fanatic. She could be hoarding a ton of little extra things to use at a moment's notice. And even if they didn't actually do anything different, they could at least look like they do.
I am the super sandwich!
A lot of shows cheat around actually upgrading their characters' skills by just giving them something that aesthetically looks different, but fundamentally works the same as before. Let's take a look at Dragon Ball. I love the show with all my heart, but let's be real. With every new Saiyan form Goku unlocks, his actual combat style has stayed relatively the same. However, we are told that this new color is stronger. There's a big visual difference that we can see and gawk at, and it tells us that it's supposed to be impressive. And this is something RWBY weirdly seems to understand, but in very weird little moments. Some uniquely standout visual moments that imply greater strength. Adam's semblance, Yang's final attack on Junior in her trailer, Team RWBY glowing like a squad to stop the cat, and that's it. This is a world where in-universe color is important. Just changing the colors a bit would go to great lengths to imply the characters are stronger. Yang, her hair glows like fire. What if it glowed brighter, became redder or something? Bam, easy, she seems like she's stronger. What if Weiss infused elements into her summons? So it's not just a giant bee, it's a giant bee that shoots lightning out of its stinger or something. I also think RWBY as a show really shot itself in the foot by not having the characters have special attacks.
All great fighters call out their finishing moves.
In Demon Slayer, Tanjiro has several sword techniques. I'll be honest, I couldn't tell you which one is which, but once he pulls out the fire move rather than the water move, I could tell this was a new, cool upgrade for him. Vegeta has Gallic Gun and Final Flash. I could watch him throw a million different aura blasts into an enemy, but once he yells out Gallic Gun, I know this attack is stronger than anything he's done before, whether it actually looks that way or not. By name recognition alone, I can tell when one move is stronger than another. Characters in RWBY not only don't get new abilities, they also don't do a very good job showing off what abilities they do have that are stronger or weaker than others. I watched Weiss's sword cut down a giant suit of armor, but then I also watched her armor summon get cut down by Vernal's lasers. So does that mean the suit of armor is weaker? This was one of her new upgrades she had to learn to achieve. Why does it feel weaker and less helpful than her original skills? Nothing they do looks any different than any other fight, so it makes it seem like the characters are just using the same old techniques they learned in Beacon.
Put some fucking effort in! I don't know where that's come from, really, so I've been really...
RWBY as a show is very unique because it actually regularly shows the characters training. And yet, despite all these moments, it never really feels like the training is actually doing anything. It's like I said with Ruby and Harriet at the start.
You were. Then you trained us.
Your skills don't actually seem to be getting any better or doing anything different with these training scenes. In fact, most training scenes just end up being characters milling around gossiping. I think it boils down to two things. First, the things the kids do in the training is just stuff they already do. Part of this is a side effect of other things I've already talked about. If they have no new skills or weapons, of course their training won't utilize new things like that. But also, like, what? Oscar swings his cane a bit? Mercury shadow boxes, RWBY goes blobby and goes around in a circle. These don't feel like training exercises. It's like the difference between walking on a treadmill or jogging on an incline. Both are technically physical activities that will keep you in shape, but the incline is going to push your limits more than just walking normally. I never see the heroes of RWBY pushing their limits. And that's the second thing. The characters don't seem like they're struggling to achieve new goals. At most, a character might just be slightly out of breath.
I don't know.
But that's it. In Demon Slayer, Tanjiro talks constantly about his skills and how much his body hurts as he tries to improve them. We see him mess up and have to continually try again and again to achieve his next stages of strength. Team RWBY never do anything like that. In fact, more often than not, things just come easily to them.
So sorry!
Yes! I did it!
It doesn't have to be exclusively about training your body either. Look at Ren, over there, meditating. In The Legend of Korra, her struggle was with focusing on meditation, struggling with regulating her emotions. There's that key word again. Struggle. No one in RWBY ever struggles to unlock their new skills. Does RWBY work on making her silver eyes work? No. Every time she needs it to happen, it just happens. Did Jean do anything to try to unlock his semblance? Meditating? Training? Nope. He just waited until the script said it was time for him to save the day. Oscar did this super impressive combo against Ironwood. Did we ever see him working on achieving this? Ha! Of course not. He can just do it now, I guess. He wasn't training for it, didn't talk about training for it, spent a lot of his on-screen time sitting around being sad in Salem's Whale, and with absolutely no struggle, here he is, doing something new with no effort. Great. It's not enough just to make a character do something different. They need to feel like they earned it. Whether it's Goku literally training constantly and begging to always be training, or Yuji sitting down to try and focus on his emotions while watching movies so he doesn't get hit by the teddy bear. Neither of these moments are on screen for long, but it's enough to show us that there's something they're trying to achieve. And it's something that they're struggling with enough to tell us it won't come easy for them. But the final piece of this puzzle, it's not just about getting something new for the heroes, it's also about when they get it. Sometimes, RWBY pops off. We all know that. The big Oscar move I just mentioned was pretty cool. Instantly overshadowed by Winter, but still, Sun's gunchucks are classic, Yang revealing her semblance again is great. There are cool moments when cool new skills are shown off, but too often, even if they do get something cool, they don't use it during the cool climax of a fight. I mentioned it earlier, RWBY unlocked a new ability for her semblance. When did she do that? Oh, it's just like training one day. Literally a super minor part of the episode, actually.
I don't know. I don't normally think it through that much.
Like, look, she literally walks off screen, no fanfare. Jean's sword has an upgrade. Does it deliver a critical blow to the Knuckleavi? No, he gets hit instantly, and then they save the day by actually taking the sword and shield apart in the end. Literally every time Yang ends a fight, it's just by punching something with her semblance activated. It's just not impressive anymore after seeing the same thing for 10 years in a row. Weiss unlocks summoning. Did she do it doing a cool action scene where she has to dig down and really focus to unlock this ability? No, she just did it. Just happens in her bedroom, Trained for literally 1 minute on screen, no real effort, didn't seem out of breath, or anything even. I know Monty gave Miles and Carrie anime homework. How do you go through all that shonen and still think this was a cool idea? Even when it does happen during crucial moments like Jean unlocking his semblance, he just sat around on the floor for 20 minutes doing nothing. It wasn't exciting, it doesn't feel like it was in the heat of the moment, it undermines the impressiveness this event could have. In Demon Slayer, Tanjiro, in a desperate attempt to stop the bad guys right at the end of his rope, figured out how to use lightning breathing. It was incredible and really made the finale of this moment hit even harder because you saw how much effort it took him to achieve this. After exhausting all his other skills, he was able to execute this amazing new thing with all this grand animation and explosiveness. The first time Zuko manages to successfully redirect lightning is this emotionally powerful moment when he abandons the Fire Nation. Ozai himself attacks him, and there's this incredible effort poured into highlighting the effort Zuko has to put in to actually redirect the attack. He didn't do it easily, but he did do it. You can see the effort it's taking these characters to execute these abilities in their moments of desperation. All the best ability reveals I can think of are like that. Bolin unlocking lava bending, Gohan executing special beam cannon, Nezuko's blood demon art, but nothing from RWBY. And it's actually truly shocking how RWBY fails so spectacularly to replicate what any of these shows are capable of doing, especially since so much of RWBY is clearly just ripping off ideas from other anime. RWBY seems to function like how you would play Pokemon, or a similar RPG. You don't need to train your Chikorita to learn the move Razor Leaf, it just learns it magically once it hits level 7. Funny enough, the anime actually regularly shows the Pokemon and trainers going out of their way to actually learn the new moves though. So even Pokemon can handle this idea better than RWBY.
And you're not done growing yet. None of us are.
I think this is all a culmination of several unfortunate side effects from Rooster Teeth's shoddy production. First of all, money. It's a lot cheaper to not change your character's weapons and models. Giving someone different hair, even if it's just a different color, often means you have to go back and change the model to a new, different model. Of course, their semblances don't change anything visually. Of course, their weapons don't look any different. Rooster Teeth was hemorrhaging money and was cutting corners whenever they could. Second, a lack of creativity. I've talked about this before, like with the weapons video, but the people in charge of RWBY just did not have interesting ideas. I'm sorry. Like, I mentioned giving Yang a robot arm that can transform into a chainsaw. How do you watch something like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and not instantly think about giving robot limbs extra cool upgrades and abilities? But yeah, Miles and Carrie and whoever else was in charge of designing new weapons, semblances, and abilities just really seemed strapped for creativity. That's why so many semblances are just glowy hand things, or don't even have a visual aid. That's why so many characters don't actually use weapons. They just aren't that creative. So thinking of new upgrades or skills just doesn't seem to be in their wheelhouse. Third, inconsistency due to plot contrivances. RWBY says this.
You were. Then you trained us.
The implication is her words say the heroes are stronger because of the training they had from the Aesops. But next thing we know, in the next volume, Ren says this.
That's why you lost against Team RWBY. You try to fight how you feel about each other, so you'll never truly work as a team.
So it wasn't Team RWBY's training? It wasn't Team RWBY at all. The Aesops' own issues is why they lost. So Team RWBY isn't stronger, or what? I stand by this idea. Trying to gauge power levels in RWBY is completely pointless. Everyone is as strong or as weak as they need to be to excuse away any plot point they stumble into next. Yang is a badass hero who can tank Adam's supercharged up strikes and punch a robot and do all these cool amazing things, but the next thing we know, she's a baby with no aura going flying across the world because of Neo's tiny little baby knife. Penny is strong enough to handle the Aesops relatively easily, all on her own. Chops down airships, handles all the White Fang, is cool and awesome. Nope, now she's struggling against Cinder, despite all the others offering her backup. The idea for this video was initially trying to see how many wins and losses everyone has against each other, but I quickly realized it's pointless. There's no consistency. Everyone is perfect and super strong all the time, but also everyone everyone can be easily defeated with little effort all the time. It's not just the fact that they seem very uncertain about how to choreograph fight scenes, it's not just the lack of money to go towards making these things look cooler, it's not just the lack of creativity from the higher-ups. There's just too many things throughout all these years that haven't really done a good job setting up the idea that these characters have grown. And it's kind of all just dominoed into this moment. RWBY has been around for 10 whole years, and what do they have to show for it? Shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, Classy Critic, Genital War Thunder, Jake, Amber, Hype Man, Scaring Crows, Not All That Evil, Holly, Messiah, Jacob, Ben's Sketchbook, Rain, Trash, Wild Pilot, Josh, Twisty, Bunkin' Duncan, Hoodie Angel, Ranger, Hut Mutt Butt, Sean, Primaroon, Overhypin, Lava Rose, Plague, Tyrene, Thanos, Pandemonium, Peter, Agiri, Shahid, Eden, The Eliza, Doki Pokey, Moon of Blues, Spencer, Bargus Blue, Cage the Mage, and ... So yeah, what do you think? I know the concept of like power levels and power gauging isn't exactly my forte, but I've been watching a lot of anime recently. You might have guessed, I've been watching a lot of Demon Slayer, and just thinking about how Demon Slayer handles showing character growth and how RWBY doesn't, I'm just like, they could be doing more. So what do you think? I think another good example is the most recent seasons of Pokemon. Like seeing Liko Sprigatito go into Florigato and see how much stronger they got. Like, they're doing a great job with it. So I'm just thinking about it with RWBY and how they could have been doing better with this. But what do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to see them, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.